మహేష్ గారు అన్మ్యూట్ చేయరా అందరినీ? ఇక్కడ ఒకటే స్టార్ట్ చేయండి, నేను చెప్పిన తర్వాత ఒక్కొక్కరిని చేతురుగా.
Dr. IRS Reddy has to go somewhere, so kindly start quickly.
Yes.
Yeah. Good evening, sir.
Good
evening, everybody.
Good evening, sir. Good evening, President.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir. Everybody, greetings to all of you.
Good evening, everyone. It's our pleasure to be among you all today. As we gather, we commemorate a significant milestone in the history of Indian Psychiatric Society. The 7th January marks the foundation day of our esteemed society, a day that traces back 75 years to 1947. On this day, during the Indian Science Congress, 13 visionary doctors in the field of mental health convened to form what we know as the Indian Psychiatric Society. This momentous gathering was not merely a meeting, but the commencement of a journey, one that has sparked a movement in academic excellence, groundbreaking research, and compassionate care of the mentally unwell. The first annual general body meeting of the IPS was convened on 2nd January 1948 in Patna under the leadership of Dr. N.N. Day as the president and editor and Dr. R.B. Davis as the secretary and treasurer. The society was officially registered on December 30th, 1948 in Patna, proudly standing as the 4th oldest professional organization in our country. Everything is happening in Patna. Even the first celebration also happened in Patna in 21. Since its inception, the IPS has been steadfast in its mission, continually upholding the high standards and objectives set forth by our founders. Today, we are very happy as IPS AP State Branch celebrates the Platinum Jubilee of the Foundation Day of IPS with the gracious presence of 4 distinguished Telugu psychiatrists who have honorably served as presidents of the society. Their experience and insights are a testament to the society's rich legacy. In particular, we remember Dr. IRS Reddy Garu, a pioneer in mental health awareness in combined Andhra Pradesh, who after 60 years of the society's inception became the first president of IPS from Telugu-speaking region. We are immensely honored and privileged to have our beloved, esteemed, and easily approachable IPS President Dr. Vinay Kumar G as our chief guest, and meticulous and friendly person, Dr. Abhay Matkarji, the president of our South Zonal branch, as our guest of honor, joining us to address the members of our state branch. Sir, kindly excuse me for a small change in the schedule of our program. Dr. IRS Reddy Garu is supposed to catch a train in Nanjala at 9 p.m. After our meeting and a grand felicitation by Kurnool Psychiatric Society, we would like to request the chief guest and guest of honor to kindly permit us for his presentation first. After his presentation, we'll have the normal schedule. IRS Reddy Garu will present the first message. Does he need introduction to our state members? American IRS Gariki Parchayam Avasarama? Kani, I request give a brief introduction to the younger generation. Dr. IRS Reddy was born at Gudipadu village in Kadapa district, MBBS from Kurnool Medical College, MD and DPM from NIMHANS. He is director of In-Laws Hospital, 120-bedded hospital. He has a de-addiction and rehab center, In-Laws Shantivan, 4 child guidance clinic. Child guidance clinic ke kashtam avutundi. 4 child guidance clinics. One in Bombay, Hyderabad, Visakhapatnam, and Vijayawada. Is president of IPS in 2007, president of SARC 2007 to 2008, published many papers. Is a prolific writer in Telugu magazine. Wrote 8 books on mental health issues in Telugu. He received honorary doctorate, Doctor of Sciences from SV University. He is an expert psychiatrist in AP State Mental Health Authority. He is member of AP State Medical Council. he received many awards. Ugadi Vishishta Puraskar Award in 2001 from Delhi Telugu Academy and also Madras Telugu Academy. Pratibha Puraskaram from Nagarjuna University. Rayalaseema Ratna Award is almost Bharat Ratna. Rayalaseema Ratna Award in 2012. Lifetime Achievement Award from IPS 2021 from AP and also received YSR Lifetime Achievement Award from AP government in 2023. Loknaik Foundation Lifetime Achievement Award in 2024. Along with his son, Dr. Vishal, a dynamic psychiatrist, he conducts DNB PG courses for the last 17 years. They have also postdoctoral fellowship in child and adolescent psychiatry, which is recognized by YSR Health University. Sir, please address us.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Ivel, and good evening, everyone. Sorry for requesting the first speaker because I am here in Kurnool and in another meeting and I have to travel now. So, respected President of IPS, Dr. Kumar, my friend, and also Dr. Abhay, the South Zone President, and all other colleagues and some postgraduates and other junior colleagues and senior colleagues. So today is IPS Foundation Day. I think it is all an auspicious day for all the psychiatrists in the country. And of course, now it is, this year is very special because it is completed 75 years. That is the significance. So 75 years for any organization is something very, very significant and remarkable. And I thought that I should speak the contributions of Telugu psychiatrists to the Indian psychiatry. Not only IPS, of course, in general. Of course, it is not very, it is quantity-wise, it is not much, but quality-wise, I think we can say that there are some eminent psychiatrists from Telugu who are basically Telugu people and who have contributed something at the national level, the Indian psychiatry and also IPS. The first one we should say, I think many of the youngsters may not know, Dr. N.C. Surya. Dr. N.C. Surya, his name is Chilukuri Surya Narayana. He is basically from Godavari districts and he was a former director of All India Institute of Mental Health. It is now NIMHANS. Previously it was called All India Institute of Mental Health. Later it was termed as NIMHANS. So he did MBBS from Andhra Medical College and then DPM from Leeds in UK. That time there was no DPM or MD in India at all. Those were the days. So he did DPM and then he worked in Jipmar Pondicherry for some time. And that was one of the first epidemiological studies in India on psychiatric morbidity in Pondicherry he has done along with Dr. Gopinath and others. Then he became the director of All India Institute of Mental Health, Bangalore. And probably, I think, I don't know, Mayor Gross Clinical Psychiatry, how many youngsters are reading or not. The foreword by the Mayor Gross, in the first page, he mentions especially about N.C. Surya's contributions and about his academics and research and other things. So that's what. So Mary Gross textbook of psychiatry mentioning N.C. Surya's in the first page of forward is something very, very, I think we should recognize. And later, somehow he suddenly resigned the directorship of All India Institute of Mental Health in Bangalore, and then he went to Aravind Ashram at Pondicherry, and he renounced all the worldly comforts. And he wanted to remain as ashramite, as a sannyasi, and he remained there till his death. So Surya, many youngsters should know that he is basically from a Telugu man, and he was headed the All India Institute, and he was in Jipmar, and he did on the epidemiological study, and he was one of the intellectuals. So when I was doing MD, and R.L. Kapoor, at that time the HOD of psychiatry at NIMHANS, was a disciple of N.C. Surya. So he brought him twice from Pondicherry and he addressed us, he gave some guest lectures to all the trainees also. I remember in 78 and 80 that time. So this is about N.C. Surya. The other thing is, I think many people may be surprised if I say Dr. Venkobarao is a Telugu man. A. Venkobarao of Madurai, he is basically from Bellary. Bellary in those days, it was in Rayalaseema of Andhra Pradesh. And he studied in Anantapur. There is another district headquarters in Andhra Pradesh now. So he's basically a Telugu man, studied in Anantapur. Then, of course, he did MD from NIMHANS. And he was of course, that time it was a Madras presidency. It was not like Andhra, Telangana, Karnataka like that. So all the southern states were under Madras presidency. So he was posted to Madurai Medical College. All his career was in Madurai Medical College. So Venkobarao is basically a Telugu man, a Telugu psychiatrist. I think the youngsters should know that he has done a lot of pioneer research in lithiumology, suicide, and Gita and psychotherapy. Another important thing is when he became the national president and the annual conference was held in Delhi. Till now, in the 75 years of Indian psychiatrics, the Prime Minister coming as a chief guest for the IPS ANSIPS happened only once till now. That was when Dr. Venkobra was the president at Delhi in ANSIPS. And that time, when they invited him, the Prime Minister Peshi said that he will stay only for 10-15 minutes and just come and go there. But after coming here and after listening to Venkobra's Gita and psychotherapy, the presidential address, the Prime Minister stayed for about 2 hours in the inaugural ceremony of ANSIPS in Delhi. So that is very, I think we should all Telugu people be proud of. And Venkobra's contributions very much to the Indian psychiatry. I think he's basically our Telugu person. Then coming to, of course, some other psychiatrists like even Gangadhar, B.N. Gangadhar, who was till recently the director of NIMHANS and now the national NMC chairman. Many people may not know, even though he is from Karnataka, but he is basically a Telugu man. His mother tongue is Telugu. I think youngsters don't know about this. So he's basically a Telugu mother tongue man. And of course, he hails from Karnataka. That doesn't mean that he's not Telugu. And he has done a lot of contribution more on ECT. He has done a lot of original research. Now, of course, he's doing on yoga and mental health. And he was the director and now the NMC chairman. And probably from the Telugu psychiatry, he is the only one till today who got Padma Shri from the government of India. Of course, there are other psychiatrists who got. From Telugu people, who can say that Gangadhar is the only one who got Padma Shri as on today now. So this is about B.N. Gangadhar. Then, of course, we other people like me and I was elected as from the Telugu people, first president to the IPS after 60 years of its inception. In 2007, I was a president. And of course, later I became the SARC Psychiatric Federation president also. And later Dr. Prasad Rao became the IPS president. Then Dr. Brigadier Raju. Brigadier Raju hails from Barampuram of Orissa. That time Barampuram was also in Andhra Pradesh. And he was a Telugu man. Pakka Telugu. Of course, he's going to address us in a few minutes. So Brigadier Raju, of course, most of his career was in Pune, AFMC. And his contributions, especially, was in the army. He was a military psychiatry. He was the HOD, the AFMC. And he has written papers. And he was the SARC Psychiatric Federation president also. So Brigadier Raju, anyway, is going to address us in a short time. So then, of course, N.N. Raju is another president from Visakhapatnam. And recently he was the national president. So these are some of the few people who have become. Then, of course, Dr. Bhashyam from Chennai. Many people don't know Dr. Bhashyam. Even people think that he's a Tamilian. His studies were in West Godavari, Bhimavaram, and he is basically a Telugu man. Comes from a Telugu family, of course, settled in Tamil Nadu. So Dr. Bhashyam was also the national president of IPS a few years back. So these are some of the very popular Telugu people. Of course, if I want to say that Kari Ramareddy is another Telugu psychiatrist who got BC Rai Award. And also, he has done a lot of non-medical degrees. Probably no other psychiatrist in India from Telugu people or any other psychiatrist have done so many non-medical degrees and other things. So Kari Ramareddy's contributions also, of course, he is very academically oriented. Even though he is in private practice, he does a lot of academic activities and community services. Then, of course, there are other 1 or 2 people like Atma Hospital, Ramakrishna and Trichy. Also, I think the youngsters don't know that he's a Telugu man. Even though there are so many Tamilians settled, there are so many Tamilians whose mother tongue is Telugu. Atma Ramakrishna also a Telugu person. Of course, he has got a lot of, he has a home for wandering mentally ill, and he has got a rehabilitation center. He started DNB and all these things. Of course, now it is not there. So Atma Ramakrishna is also a Telugu man. Then, of course, another Saumanyasa Gopalakrishnan from Trichy. He's Dr. Gopalakrishnan is the one who has started the DNB, first DNB center in South India was by at Trichy. That time, none of the other centers have got. So Gopalakrishnan started DNB, maintained for many years. Of course, now he is now in Bangalore working in another medical college. So these are another important thing is there are so many army psychiatrists who are from Telugu people, like our Brigadier Raju, apart from Rally Subbarao. He's now retired from the naval this thing Visakhapatnam, and now he's a HOD at Kuppam Medical College. Then one Dr. Jogarao, Major Jogarao. Of course, these are the very, very, very elderly senior people from Tekkali, Srikakulam district, and Captain KVR Sharma. These are all in those days, the army psychiatrists were army had a lot of psychiatrists, and some of the Telugu people were also held this psychiatric positions in army. So like that, probably these are some of the things. Coming to our center, we were the first to start DNB in Andhra Pradesh. For the last 16 years, we are having DNB. I think in the last 16 years, we have produced 50 psychiatrists to the country. Our in-laws hospitals in Vijayawada, we have, even though every year we have got 4 seats, so I think 64 people have joined till now. Out of that, at least 50 people have successfully completed PNB, and they are in different parts of the country and abroad also. So there is one major contribution from our hospital. We have got also PTF in child and adult psychiatry attached to our health university. So every year we have got 1 seat. Probably I think we have produced about 8 child psychiatrists to the country till now. So these are some of our academic contributions from our side. So I think as I earlier said, even though the quantity of contribution of Telugu people are not much, but it is very significant, and especially some of the senior most people like Surya and others, Venkobarao, many the youngsters should know that they are all from Telugu people. I once again wish all our colleagues, psychiatrists and youngsters also that today is IPS Foundation Day, and we should take IPS forward much ahead. Psychiatry is now, it is not like our days when psychiatry has no glamour. Now psychiatry has got a lot of glamour, and many youngsters, many doctors are taking up psychiatry, and we have a lot of bright future. So many new therapies are also coming in psychiatry. I think I once again thank IVL and his family for this thing. And I also thank Vinay for bearing with me to listen to me and giving me the opportunity to speak first. And thank you, Vinay and Abhay and all other colleagues for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, IRSG, for giving us a wonderful presentation, introducing many people whom we do not know that they speak Telugu and their mother tongue was Telugu. It's wonderful presentation, sir. Now we will go to the original schedule of the program. Now I request our President, Dr. Vinay Kumarji, to address the gathering. Before that, I will just briefly introduce him to the gathering. I was astonished and overwhelmed with joy to see the CV of our President. Our IPS President, Dr. Vinay Kumarji, is South Asia representative to World Psychiatric Association. He is also the Secretary of Suicidology Specialty Section, World Association for Social Psychiatry. He is member, Specialty Board, NBE. He is immediate past honorary General Secretary of IPS. He is editor and co-editor for many books. IPS textbook of UG Psychiatry, Social Psychiatry, Interfaces of Psychiatry, Spectrum of Psychiatry, Suicide, Indian Perspectives. For these books, he is the editor. A very good orator, has given many talks in national and international conferences. He's a great poet and popular author. He published 5 books in poetry and 2 books in prose. He received so many awards, to mention few: IMA Ramachandra Murthy Award in 2007, Ayodhya Prasad Khatri Award for 2014 Hindi bestseller, Mano Chikitsaki Notes. He is consultant psychiatrist, Manovet Mind Hospital and Research. Now I request Sir to address our gathering.
Thank you very much, sir. Am I audible?
Sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Actually, I'm traveling. I'm in Bangalore for national program of this Foundation Day. So, very good evening to all of you. I say in the audience, respected past presidents of IPS, Dr. G. Prasad Rao, who is the president of Asian Federation of Psychiatric Associations also, and we are looking forward to see him as president of WPA, because he is only person who has reached to that level, and only one step is ahead. Brigadier MS.V.K. Raju sir, who has always mentored us and worked hard for IPS. And most important thing is what today we discussed in the program in Bangalore Medical College, that 7th January is the birthday of IPS. IPS was formed on 7th of January. This fact was discovered by, this fact was made known to all of us by Brigadier MS.V.K. Raju sir. He has keen interest in history and history of IPS, and he is writing a beautiful chapter in a book, IPS at 75, which will be released in ANSIPS. Today is the day of Indian Psychiatric Society. There is no need to talk about what we are. We are something because of IPS. Otherwise, think that no IPS, then think about our journey, what it would have been. Very simple, straight journey. Passed MBBS, did MD, got a job, retired, like that. It's IPS which has given us so much opportunity to make a Telugu man a pan-Indian figure, to make this small Bihari man a pan-Indian leader. Only. So important thing is organizations are important. We are not important. We are important because of organization. When I am talking something, I'm not talking on my behalf only. I'm talking on the behalf of traditions. I'm talking on the behalf of legacy. I'm talking on the behalf of history. In me, everything is ingrained. The journey of 75 years, to the best of my ability, I try to imbibe what our seniors, what our past presidents, what our senior researchers created, the whole amount of knowledge, and we imbibed everything. And so persons are not important. Organization is important. Organization first. Today I was talking regarding formation of IPS, that this organization was formed in 1947 in the month of January, when Indian Science Congress was being convened in Delhi University. And Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru was the president of that Congress. And that was first Indian Congress in which international researchers were invited. And initiative was taken by Pandit Nehru only. Think what a kind of prime minister we had in the beginning when India became free. The entire country was almost waiting to be free. Our tricolor was waiting to be unfurled in free air. And Pandit Nehru was chairing a session. Pandit Nehru was chairing a Congress. And his presidential address was unique. He said, science at the service of nation. So Indian Psychiatric Society was born during a Congress where line of service was decided. How Indian Psychiatric Society should go. Science at the service of nation. And in the last 75 years, if we take all the examples, I think we can communicate to Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru's soul that Indian Psychiatric Society has tried to justify, has tried to serve India the way he wanted. Friends, it's Platinum Jubilee year, and platinum moments have come after long struggle. Think 7-8 people started the organization. Now we are approaching 10,000, 9,000 we are already, and there are around 2,000 to 3,000 psychiatrists who are not our members. So a lot of our organization is trying. Our all branches are trying to make them member. Soon we will cross 10,000. So this journey has been very long, and this journey has been without any journal, just organization having some conferences. Then we started our journal. Then we added media conferences, and now we are having around 70 to 80 tasks, subcommittees, specialty section, task forces. Entire year is buzzing with activities, lots of promises, lots of commitments. Today I was sharing that IPS has dreamed a lot. Now there is a need to do something better in future. This year, in general body meeting, we discussed about IPS Academy, and but it was proposal from my side, and it was not on the agenda. And I requested general body meeting to authorize Executive Council to form how it should be formed and what will be the modus operandi, what are the rules and regulations to carry out. And after that, Executive Council did it, but after some time, some members felt that this was not an agenda, so we should go to general body again. Friends, the proposal of IPS Academy is unique. In IPS Academy, we have proposed 4 sections. One on certificate courses. Today, Dr. Ajit Awasthi was also insisting that any organization will be considered prestigious organization only if it is carrying out educational activities. So certificate courses then is one part under education. Then Research Foundation, which was formed in 2012 during Kochi conference. And after that, that foundation carried out lots of research work, which were published in around, I think, more than 20 publications that have been published till now. So that is another part to carry out multicentric research with our limited resources. Third one, we started this year, International Research Collaboration section, and that has yielded a lot. I'm happy to share that we have formed one research group on professional burnout with Royal College of Psychiatry. The Dean of Royal College of Psychiatry is part of the group, and we will be having first symposium to discuss how to move forward at annual conference in Kochi. Another group is working on mental health legislation with Australia, and they are planning to add more countries to understand what is the status of mental health legislation in different countries and what lessons they have learned in their country and how to move forward. I'm happy to share that American Psychiatric Association, on our request, have given us license to 35 research instruments, scales, free of cost. They are not charging anything. And this permission is for indefinite period. Only thing we have to do, we have to report them that how much we have used and which research instrument has been translated to which language. So they have given authority to IPS to give permission. And every January, we have to just send a letter that this much, we have this much, these things we have used and translated and all. So thing is now about publication committee. Publication committee was formed for the first time, I think, I remember, after 2007 or 8. But after that, gradually, when Dr. Gautam Saha became the chairperson of this publication committee, he started working on this, and he organized a beautiful program on research and paper presentation and all. And it was a beautiful program. And he started publishing different strokes, a collection of articles. 2 years he consecutively produced for internal circulation. When I became chair of the publication committee, I started working on this, the whole publication thing in association with JP Brothers Medical Publishers after taking permission from Executive Council. By now, we have published 13 books. And by the end of this year, by the end of our conference, during conference, we will be ending with around 23 or 24 books. So in all areas, journals, which we started with no journal, now we are publishing our journal, Indian Journal of Psychiatry, every month, and with a good impact factor. So journey has been very good, very satisfactory, but there are lots of challenges. There are lots of other issues to be addressed, and Indian Psychiatric Society needs to be united, focused, and we must keep organization first. Persons will come and go, organizations will remain. So that is my message on the day. Today I was telling that whenever we organization, we should think about. I'm sorry, some call is coming. Just a minute.
You're audible.
Okay, oh, no, I cancel. So So whenever somebody joins an organization, person should think, whenever he talks about himself, he should talk with a small I, not a capital I. So some kind of humility, some kind of should be always in heart and mind. Only then organization can grow. So this is my message, and kind of message to myself as well, that I will be finishing my tenure as president in 10 days. But after that, I'll keep serving IPS as a very simple, common person, the way I used to be in earlier days. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much, sir, Dr. Vinay Kumarji, for your enlightening and inspirational message, information about IPS activities and new developments. Thank you again for sparing your valuable time in spite of your busy schedule. And we are privileged to have you with us in our Platinum Jubilee celebrations of IPS Foundation Day in Andhra
Thank
Pradesh.
you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir. I'm going for another program of Eastern Zone. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, sir.
Thank
you very much. Okay. Now, I request our South Zone President, Dr. Abhay Matkarji, to address our state members. Before that, let me introduce him. We have a special affection towards Abhayji. You all know that our IPSACON 2023 was a phenomenal success and was very well appreciated by all the delegates. Though we organized it, the entire credit goes to Abhayji.
No.
As he was behind us and directed all our actions meticulously along with Dr. Uday Kumar. Okay. We owe him a lot. Dr. Abhay Matkarji is professor and HOD of Department of Psychiatry, SDMC, MS and H, Sattur, Dharwad, Karnataka. He did MBBS in KMC Hubli in 1984, MD Psychiatry in AFMC Pune in 1991. He served army for 12 years from 1984 to 1996. Probably that was the reason why he is meticulous. Since then, in teaching faculty, areas of interest are child psychiatry. He received SS Jairam Award of South Zone. He held many positions in psychiatry in IPS. He is president of IPS South Zonal Branch, president of IPS Karnataka Chapter, secretary of IPS Karnataka Chapter, secretary IPS South Zonal Branch, chairperson IPS Election Commission, district direct council member of IPS, secretary IMA Hubli, he has organizational skills, motivational trainer, computer skills, and sportsmanship. Sir, thank you very much. Kindly address us, sir.
Thank you, sir. At the outset, I would like to be very grateful to IPS Andhra State Branch, the entire family of IVL, the one who have been backbone to get this success of IPSACON. So that is to set the record right. I'm trying to tell this at the outset. It's a great matter of great pride to me today that after being so many years in psychiatry, today is the day where at one stretch, right from morning till 3:30, almost till 5 o'clock, not 3:30, I was able to understand the in-depth about the Indian Psychiatric Society. And few of the things, quite a few things have already been told about, but I would not like to take much time because I am just a guest of honor. I would like to listen from other luminaries. We just heard from Inla sir also. Quite a few things which I learned was that psychiatry has its inception right from pre-independent era in our country. In this state of Mysore, there were some kingdoms, there were certain institutions which had earmarked place for patients with mental illness. At that time, of course, the word used was lunatics. Then the second thing which I learned was there was a family model of treatment. Quite a few patients were treated without medications. The importance given at that time was in terms of environment. One of the things which I learned today was good food was something which was served to them for their wellness. And then the second set of things which I learned was that a lot of Indian doctors to set a small record like I being from the armed forces. It was formed by 15 members, which was just told by IVL sir. Out of that, 9 happened to be from the armed forces, and quite a few were not Indians actually. What I learned was that a significant number of them got training from abroad, that is UK and USA. And then a significant number of them, though they were not Indians, came back and served the Indian population between the pre-independence era also. That was quite heartening to listen. Then the development which has moved from the 15 membership in 1948 to almost 9,000 now has been a significant change in our membership. We have moved a lot. We have understood psychiatry better. We have moved from, the asylum setup to general hospital psychiatry. There is a mainstreaming of understanding. We have continued to fight the issue of stigma. But I must admit that, like what Inla sir said, that the charm of practicing psychiatry has really come of age, and we need to be very proud that we are serving one sect of the society which continues to be underprivileged, and a lot needs to be done. The main emphasis, like I stand before you as IPS South Zone, is that we need to be collective in this association. So issues like, improving membership, improving our teaching aspects in UG and PG, and improving the research outcome and research inputs per se. These are some of the areas which we need to look forward to. So wishing you all the very best for the future to come. I wish you all much more happiness in your personal and professional life on this 75th Foundation Day. Thank you, one and all.
So, thank you, Dr. Abhayji, for your wonderful message. Now we are going to have the message of Telugu psychiatrists who served the society as presidents. We have already finished the message of Dr. Ayaras. Now we are going to have Dr. Prasad Rao's message. He is a great international psychiatrist and a true spiritual sadhaka and teacher also. He is director of Asho Hospital for the Division of Schizophrenia and Psychopharmacology. He is professor, HOD of Psychiatry, Bhaskar Medical College, Hyderabad, Secretary of IPS AP State 94-98, President of IPS AP Chapter 1999 and 2000. He is Honorary Secretary for Society for Bipolar Disorder in India. He won many medals: gold medal in general medicine in MBBS, medal in MD at PGI, several awards, SS Jairam Award by IPS South Zone in 1999, Bombay Psychiatry Society Award IPS 2000, IAPP Award Varanasi in 2006 and 2013, ICSR Best Investigation Award, organized many conferences, both national as international. He published more than 150 papers, and he is the principal investigator in more than 50 projects, drug trials. Sir, now I request Dr. Prasad Raoji to speak to us.
Hope I'm
Present,
audible.
yes, sir.
I'm audible.
Slide share button.
Second. Oh,
Ah.
I think I'm sharing my slides.
Yes, sir.
I'm audible.
Yes, sir.
It is time to first congratulate the Indian Psychiatric Society led by the duo, a rare duo of a father and son. And I'm really proud to be part of this program. And when Dr. IVL has invited me, I thought I would present my dreams of re-imaging of the psychiatry in India, the way I dream even today. I thought I would first express on this happy occasion of Vajrotsav of Indian Psychiatric Society, which we celebrate along with our nation. A very proud man today, especially being amidst 4 Telugu people. My immediate president is none other than Brigadier MSVK Raju, whom I consider as elder brother, and of course NN Raju, who follows. So 2 Rajus, 1 Rao and 1 Reddy have been the past presidents. But I would like to add Dr. Jaya Nagaraja. Nagaraja was also the president of Indian Psychiatric Society, if I remember correct. But having said that, it's a nostalgic day today. And I would definitely present my dreams in this form. To start with, Aristotle said, he who has never learned to obey cannot be a good commander. And Ralph Nader also said, I start with the premise that the function of leadership is to produce more leaders and not more followers. My gratitude and respects to you all on this wonderful day. To my parents who has given me everything in my life, including the wisdom, knowledge, and a sincere way to work, hard work. My dear wife, who has been part of my journey all through, my son and daughter-in-law, and my loving granddaughter, Meera Ashu, has just entered this world 13 days back. And this is my small family, but particularly to these 3 gurus, Dr. Professor N.V. Ramana Rao Garu, M.A. Khan, and Professor Raghuram Reddy, who I consider as one of the people who have shared myself. I start with Harry Truman's, and this is one thing which I would remember for the youngsters. I remember this talk is not just for all of us, but for the future. Men make history and not the other way around. And in periods where there is no leadership, society stands still. I think successfully Indian Psychiatric Society has gone through a lot of ups and downs, but it continued the straight line. And I'd also remember Nelson Mandela saying, a leader is like a shepherd. He stays behind the flock, letting the others nimble go out ahead, whereupon the others follow, not realizing that all along they are being directed from behind. I think I followed this principle all along. To start with, my Man Ki Baat, when I started my presidentship in the year 2015, I set for this following 6, and I would go on to say that probably I was successful in majority of them. Improving the relation with judiciary. I think we have worked along with the IPS and the government to bring out the Mental Health Care Act. I'm sure Professor Brigadier MSVK Raju will remember that myself, Brigadier Raju, along with Gautam, with Professor Vijayadhar Vatve, we have entered the temple of the lawmaking, that parliament, and we presented what IPS felt that day. All along, I think I would say what is lacking today is proper documentation by the youngsters and standard. But when I felt in my presidential address, I talked about standardization, ECT, RTMS, and other services. I think Indian Psychiatric Society has come a long way, and Andhra Pradesh has come a long way. And one of the aims at that time was the increase in manpower. I am sure everyone agrees. When I was the president, there were this count of 5,000 plus. Now we talk about 8,000 to 9,000, and we are surely but successfully achieving the 10,000 mark. The other important thing is to reduce stigma. And during my presidential address, I have taken the help of the famous film actor Deepika Padukone, and she has agreed to be a brand ambassador of IPS. And through her, we have worked with her own NGO to reduce the stigma about depression and others. Surely, one more area which we thought is improving the dignity of the patients and changing the name of psychiatry was considered, but ultimately, I think a lot of love things have happened. Improving the knowledge of psychiatry, the IPS AP chapter, I think after the division of the Telugu states, I continue to be invited to the CMEs of AP chapter, which I'm very thankful. But more than that, I think over the years, there are enough number of places to learn from the knowledge. Working with the government, I think during my time when I worked with MCI, And I'm happy and proud to say that Asha Hospital during my term in the year 2007, way ahead of in-laws. Maybe in-law was referring to the Andhra Pradesh, but during the combined Telugu state, Asha Hospital was the first private hospital which has started the DNB. Apart from that, we tried to get the tax rebates, and I'm proud to say the mental health insurance, which I set in that time, is now a reality. And mental health bill, through advocacy, we have worked, and now right now we are actually the current executive is working to change some of the issues which we consider. In fact, on that day, during my presidency, we have gone to the Bombay High Court and the case still stands there. Stigma reduction is one, and I would take Norman Sartorius' words, become less helpful in communication to other professionals can be harmful. I thought over the years and during my term, we have worked very hard to improve the relation. In fact, I, as a president, has worked with the national IMA. We had 2 international and national conferences, one in Delhi, where we talked of associating and reducing the depression stigma. As we move forward, I further say that stigma need to be further improved, that we should be aligned with, like the World Psychiatric Associations, to initiate a global program against stigma. And right now, I'm right now in the WPA planning committee, and I have been successful to add this particular thing in this year's WPA conference. My own personal favorite is Thomas Insel's comment. Too often we have been guided more by religion than the science, that especially in psychiatry. And my own dream is to change the mental health into a science base, not a faith and intuition base. And I think we are moving in that direction, though there are a lot more steps to make. Coming to the possibility, I think the time has come on the research side. My own dream is that the Nobel Prize in Physiology and Medicine should be won much more by our psychiatrists for the next future. There is a lot of great works, and I would now take the name of Ganesh Venkat Subramaniam, who probably in the recent times has won the only psychiatrist who has won the Bhatnagar's Award for the recognition of his research. But there's a long way to go. A case describing the brain's GPS network, and all work is going on in our country and in our parts of the country. And my own dream is that we need to build up the psychiatry in close association with neurosciences. In fact, the physicist Stein Weinberg reminds us, rather than being starved for data 50 years or 75 years down, I think there is a lot of work which our own Indian psychiatrists, both in this country and across the world, like Rajiv Tandon, Macheri, Keshwan, and likes of people, and likewise at Australia also. As we move, the area which I'm really unhappy at this point of time is the postgraduate education in psychiatry. I think there should be much more stabilization and what I would say integration of standard, which we need to go further. As I said in the recent Dinesh Bugra, who is the past WPA and from our country, in a recent study done in UK, he says that the increase in preference of psychiatry, and I'm happy that this is happening in our country. But I would like to close with the following important things. A lot of challenges. The knowledge gaps have to be further bridged. The competence-based clinicians have to be prepared. The behavior therapies and other psychotherapies which are now taking a backseat has to be more honest to the patient and to the society. And medical practice is seen as a professional monopoly. I think most important thing is we have to improve the professionalism. During my term, to say the least, I think, thankfully, along with Gautam and N. Raju, who was the secretary, who handed over to Gautam during the AGP, I have done 6 changes. One, first we brought an electronic voting, which probably I think is a great success. We could bring a change, bringing 2 reservations to the women members, which today, I think there's a lot of competition even for the women members. Then, as I said, to reduce the stigma, getting involved with IMA, that's another success. The Mental Health Care Act, I think, was a product successfully from my previous terms, but during our term, we had met the current BJP president and then the Health Minister J.P. Nadda, and we had a more than 3.5 hours, which I am sure Brigadier Raju would remember, and lot more activities across the world. We are to be committed. And I think the future is to identify much more better biomarkers. I think the new phase of psychiatry is to engage modern technology, the most recent advances in the RTMS machines and other technology. But I would think we have to partner with the NGOs for the mental health care delivery and partner with all the activists simultaneously so that we will not get the negative image. I think I would close my presentation. I'm very thankful to IVL Narasimha Rao and Dr. I.V. Sharachandra that we from IPS have given world leaders to psychiatry. I think we have leaders consequently, successfully. And I'm also thankful to the IPS. And to just recall, in IPS, during my time, I was given 3 terms, which were, I'm as a secretary, I'm sure nobody has done that much of position. I'm very thankful to the IPS AP chapter. We need to give a great leadership to the world psychiatry. As we raise, I think the new phase of psychiatry is to build up a great research. I think we have like effective interventions using psychosocial treatments, which is probably being neglected. We have to extend into using smartphones and tablets much more. Smartphone is now everyone has in our country. And like Thomas himself said in 2015, after he came down, after he retired from, he took a retirement from NMH, Bethesda. He talked about that the world is going to change, and how truly it is true. And the new phase of psychiatry is change. Use the technology, and as I see, Apple, Google, IBM, and Intel, they are all now part of our day-to-day practice. Genomics, imaging, large health, and psychiatric services. I would close with this great man who was once our president, APJ Abdul Kalam, who taught us, each one of us on this planet, create a page in our human history. I thought I had a very small page in the large history of our IPS. I realized that my experience is a small dot, and I think that's right to me as well in human history, but that dot has a life and light. Thank you, IVL. But I would like our youngsters to remember that you will be remembered for creating a page in the history of the nation or your society. A great mind and heart to go together. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, especially for IVL and Sarachandra for considering that we 4 from the Telugu can contribute a little bit in this session. But I think we recall very fondly the Vajrotsav Day of IPS, and I'm so happy to be part of it. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, Dr. Prasad Rao garu, for your wonderful speech. This is a message on guidelines for the future and the bird's eye view of the vast developments in psychiatry. Now, I request Professor Brigadier Dr. MSVK Raju garu to address our gathering. Before that, let me introduce him to the audience. Dr. Raju garu, though doesn't stay in Telugu states, he speaks chaste and pure Telugu. He was professor at HOD Department of Psychiatry, AFMC Pune. He is senior advisor and consultant psychiatrist, Base Hospital, Delhi Cantonment. His commandant, Military Hospital, Kirke, Pune. President, IPS from 2017 to 2018. He is president, SARC Psychiatric Federation, 2017 to 2019. President, Association of Industrial Psychiatry of India from 2018 to 2021. He is board member, Asian Federation of Psychiatric Association from 2017 to 2019. He is board member and Zone 16 representative of World Psychiatric Association. He is fellow of World Psychiatric Association. He has international distinguished fellow of American Psychiatric Association. He is fellow Institute of Organizational Psychological Medicine, UK. He is fellow of Royal College of Physicians, Edinburgh. Member Military Psychiatry Specialty Section, World Psychiatric Association. Advisor, SARC Psychiatric Federation. he has 55 publications to his credit in national and international journals. More than 250 presentations he made in national and international organizations. He visited many countries in the world. Lokam Sutana Jnani. Thank you, sir. Please address us.
Thank you, sir. May I have the first slide?
Yes, sir.
You have to, no, let the first slide be there.
Yes.
Yeah. So it is a great feeling to be here amongst all my Telugu speaking colleagues. I am basically from Andhra Pradesh, from a place called Marella near Addanki. Then our people migrated to Bhimavaram. Then they migrated slowly towards Odisha, where I belong. I still have a house there. Then, well, I am now here in Pune for the last 40 years. My heart is there in Madhya Pradesh and Jammu and Kashmir. So I don't know where I belong to. But all the same, my mother tongue is Telugu. So I'm basically a Telugu man. So very nice of the president and IBL Narasimha Garu and Prasad Rao Garu and everybody saying nice words. I feel a little embarrassed hearing all that. But anyway, let me come to the first slide. Yeah, the beginning of the military connection, how the military people came into the run-up of the Indian Psychiatric Society. I am taking a little larger view. So in 1906, all the mental hospital, lunatic asylums, they were called in those days, were under the control of the Inspector General of Prisons. You can very well understood what was the condition of those asylums because they were under prisons. In 1966, Government of India, at the time the British government issued orders to be put under the civil surgeons. The civil surgeons were most of them were military officers. They belonged to the Indian Medical Service or from the regular army. That's how the army in the initial foundation, you'll find many of them psychiatrists were army people. In fact, as Abhay has said, that out of the 15 founder members that we have had, 9 of them were military people. In fact, the very word psychiatry and psychiatrist were introduced to India by army psychiatrists. Until Second World War, until 1943 or 42, they were called mental specialists. Psychiatrists were called mental specialists or alienists. They were alien from other medical mainstream. So they were called alienists. The psychiatry word was introduced to India by the armed forces. Next slide, please. Well, there was some antecedent to our Indian Psychiatric Society, preceded by 2 attempts at organizing the psychiatric services in the country. One was the legend, Lieutenant Colonel O.A.R. Buckley Hill. He was the first founder of the first organization of mental health. Berkeley Hill belonged to India, England, of course. He served as RMO at various places in British India. For some time, he was the principal of Hyderabad Medical College also, where Sarojini Naidu's husband worked under him. Then he was posted to Punjab Lunatic Asylum, Lahore, from where he came to Pune. From there, he fought in the First World War, where he was, for his bravery, he was distinguished service, he was awarded. Then he came back to India and sent to European Lunatic Asylum. The CAP was called like that at that time. He went there and there he created history. The first thing he made was to put the hospital in order. It was like a beer garden, then which he made into the best in Asia. That was one thing which he had done. But I think most important thing which he done was to banish the word lunatic asylum forever from the dictionary of this country. He named them as mental hospital. At his insistence, the government made all the lunatic asylum, the obnoxious word, into mental hospital. That was, I think, the biggest nail in the coffin of the stigma in the history of our psychiatry. That was his greatest contribution to my mind. Next slide, please. Previous slide. He started the Indian Association of Mental Hygiene in 1929. That was open for all who were interested in mental health, not necessarily psychiatrists. So after his premature death, that thing went into dormancy and vanished. Next slide. Lieutenant Colonel Banarsi Das. He did his DPM in London in 1930, and from there he went around Europe studying mental hospitals, working, and he came back to India and he was appointed superintendent of mental hospital Agra. The moment he came, he asked for a meeting of all mental hospital superintendents at Agra. But somehow there were some differences. A meeting could not be held until 1939, when in January 24th, 1939, the first conference was held in Lahore under the chair of Dr. Colonel Lajpach. And that was the beginning of Indian branch of the Royal Medico-Psychological Association. We all know Royal Medical Psychological Association is the precursor of Royal College of Psychiatry. In 41 meeting, Banarsi Das became the president of the association, but unfortunately he died in 43. Then the Royal Medical Psychology went into disuse, and it was dissolved after the birth of Indian Psychiatric Society. Next slide. There are 15. There are 15 members who founded on a cold winter day in Delhi on 7 January 1947. The names which are highlighted in red are all military people. Out of the 15, 9 were military officers. Why? I told you why he was. Because all of them were superintendents of mental hospitals and most of them were military officers. Next slide. Well, the meeting was presided over on January 7th by Lieutenant Colonel Jal Edulji Dunjibai. He studied from Grant Medical College. Then he was one of the first officers, Indian officers, who selected for Indian Medical Service. Most of them were British at that time. He worked in Berhampur Mental Hospital. Berhampur is Murshidabad in West Bengal. Worked there. Then he was the first superintendent of the Indian Mental Hospital in Ranchi in 1925. He traveled extensively across the world and improved the condition of the hospital in competition with CIP at that time. Then 41, he was asked for war service. He was in the Northwestern Command in Rawalpindi, presently in Pakistan. And at the time of, as I said, 47, he presided over the meeting. He was our first president. Dunjibai was our first president. But at the time of independence, he was in Karachi, and there are a lot of Parsis. He is a Parsi. He decided to stay there. He didn't migrate. He was there in Karachi. Karachi was India until 47. So he decided to stay there, but he resigned his presidency. Dr. Enande took over from him. Next, please. They're all presidents, military people. 15 of them so far in the history of our psychiatric society, 15 of them are military people. Yours truly, the last one, 15. And if I recall, suddenly I realized I'm the only Telugu-speaking president of Indian military person in the Indian Psychiatric Society. For the time is very short, so the red highlighted name, Major Vidyasagar, that is where up to there I will talk about few psychiatrists. The first 25 years I take is the developing period of Indian psychiatry out of the 75. So I'll be talking about few military psychiatrists up to Major Vidyasagar. Next slide, please. Lieutenant Colonel Dunjibai, I already spoke. Well, the office bearers, if you see the contribution of military psychiatry to the at the leadership level, you will find there we have until 1977 when Major Vidyasagar became president. 11 of them were president. That is 44% of the military people were president. Similarly, 36% of secretaries and 72% were treasurers and 10% were editors. After 73, you will see their participation came down severely because larger number of civilian psychiatrists have joined, and the military, the English people have gone, and less people were in the military. So that's but in the formative years of Indian psychiatry, I think that the military psychiatrists contributed disproportionately higher proportion in the development, in the foundation and progress of Indian Psychiatric Society. Next slide, please. You will see in the pioneers, the fellows are the backbone of any society and professional organization. In the first 5 years, you will see almost 50% of the fellows were military psychiatrists. So, but now if you see 2016, that is the last directory we have, you will see only 2.5% of military psychiatrists, and that's how it's happened. So the formative years military psychiatrist contribution was very, very high. Next slide, please. The major contribution, I think, of the military psychiatry, general hospital psychiatry units. We all know Girinder Sekhar was started in 33 in Carmichael Medical College in 33, a OPD basis general psychiatry unit, and subsequently in Mumbai in KM and JJ in 38 started. But the military, what happened was in the First World War, Second World War, 1942 onwards, the large number of military hospitals with GHPs were established, where inpatient facilities were available. They created 1,100 beds and 10 hospitals. IBGH means Indo-British General Hospitals. They were across India from south to the west and the north, the military hospitals established, which were GHPs. I think the GHP revolution in India was brought by the military psychiatrists. Next slide, please. The man at the center of all this is Brigadier E.A. Bennett. He is an analyst, a Jungian analyst by his training, but he brought ECT to India. He's a unique personality. He was in the First World War, he was a Christian priest, but he won a war medal for bravery in the face of the enemy. He was fighting in France. Did his MBBS after the First World War, then he became a Jungian analyst, joined World War II, and took charge as the consultant of India Command. India Command at that time included what is now presently Pakistan, India, and Burma. He took over the consultant head of the psychiatric setup in Second World War. And he found very few psychiatrists. In fact, there were 4 psychiatrists only for the entire setup. In over a 2 years period, he created 100 psychiatrists by training medical officers, 6 months training under senior specialists, and he created 100 psychiatrists. That is one. And he placed psychiatrists at the front line up to divisional level. In the army, their formations are there, battalion, brigade, division, corps, and command, like that. Up to divisional level, he put psychiatrists, forward psychiatry. And afterwards, I think I am in the Free India, went up to the border areas conducting studies. He brought ECT machine for the first time to India in 1943. He used it in military hospital, Karachi. Karachi was India at the time. And then he took the machine to Ranchi CIP. And then he brought it to Pune, 3 IBGS, which is now Command Hospital. So he brought ECT to India. He's an analyst. He brought ECT to India. And he organized the first ever military psychiatric conference in Calcutta from 8 to 10 August 1944. It is after another 53 years in Free India, Brigadier Daniel Saldana made the first ever military psychiatry CME in India in MS Karki, which I was fortunate to command a little later. Next slide, please. Major K.C. Dubey. You must have heard his name, Major K.C. Dubey. Suddenly I remember now, Dr. Indlagaru, he narrated what are the Telugu psychiatrists. N.C. Surya was in fact a military psychiatrist. He was served in the Royal Army Medical Corps in England for 6 years. He came to India and that thereafter created history. Major K.C. Dubey was the first Indian military psychiatrist and a great world-known epidemiologist. He did MBBS from GS Medical College, where an offer came to go to Nagpur as a deputy superintendent of the hospital with this thing that he would be sent to England to study DPM. So he joined there. Then the permanent incumbent went away, so he became the superintendent. Then the First World War broke, he took commission in IMS. He took commission in 1941. He was one of the 4 specialists in military at the time. One was Major R.B. Davis. He conducted 2 major epidemiological studies in Agra and put Agra on the world map. First, the ICMR sponsored a pilot investigation incidents of mental disease in India. And then the international pilot study of schizophrenia. Agra was one of the 9 centers where the study was conducted. He organized the annual conference of IPS Agra in 1962. Then he was president 2 times, in 53 and 1966. Next slide, please. Next slide, please.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Major R.B. Davis.
Yeah, sorry, it's there. Okay. He was the first honorary general secretary and treasurer of Indian Psychiatric Society. Actually, he was the prime mover, he was convener for the 47 January 7th meeting. He was born in Amritsar. They had to leave Amritsar suddenly because of impending Jallianwala Bagh. People were angry against the white people. So his father went away to England, where R.B. Davis studied there. After his MBBS, he joined IMS. His love for India made him join IMS, Indian Medical Service, and he fought in the Burma sector. He was given a distinguished service order by the King of England. Then he convened a meeting that he created history. After the meeting, he remained the General Secretary for 8 long years. He was also Treasurer and General Secretary. He almost single-handedly drafted the mental health bill. That was the 1987 bill. He drafted finally and presented the final draft at the Pune Conference in 1950. He was president of our society in 1955 and he is awarded Padma Shri in 1962. He is the only psychiatrist who got awarded by the President of India and King of England. Next slide, please. Colonel Kirpal Singh, the man who lived psychiatry and loved IPS. I quote from him from one of his articles. One interesting fact about psychotic reactions in the Indian troops is worth mentioning. That is, the condition is liable to change from day to day, and what looks like a typical schizophrenia reaction may be recorded in a few days' time. Now, this article he wrote in Indian Medical Gazette in 1944. He was not writing from Delhi or Pune or someplace. He was fighting war in Burma. From the war front, he was writing articles. That defies Colonel Kirpal Singh. He practiced psychiatry until the last day of his life. He joined Army Medical Corps in 41 and graded as specialist in 44. He fought in the Eastern sector during World War II. He rubbed shoulders with greats of world psychiatry. He did his PhD from Kaplan. He studied Institute of London and he called Van Meter his close friend. He brought Lindman to Pune like that. He could quote anybody, the who is who of world psychiatry he knew. He's a teacher of teachers. My teacher was his student. He was treasurer for 8 long years. And he, again, like K.B. Dubey, he was president twice, 1959 and 1968. He instituted the Kirpal Singh Award in Indian Psychiatric Society. Greatness of that was in military psychiatry award. There was no military psychiatry specialty at that time. And secondly, he was alive when the award was instituted. Most of our awards were after the demise of the awardees. So that is Kirpal Singh. Next slide, please. Major Vidyasagar Diwan, the first community psychiatrist of India. He was born in Jampur, Dera Ghazi Khan, Pakistan. His mother died when he was 6 months old. He studied in Lahore Medical College in 32. Then he was commissioned in IMS in 42, Indian Medical Service. After release, he did the MRCSI from UK and came back to India, and he was superintendent of Amritsar Mental Hospital. He opened the mental hospital doors to the family members of patients and created a revolution. And then allowed them to stay in the premises. He brought surplus army tents and accommodated them and allowed them to participate in the treatment and take care of his patients. And he conducted clinics in the districts. So he was the originator of community psychiatry in India. Fondly called the father of Indian psychiatry by his admirers, he became president in 1973. Next slide, please. This guy is yours truly, the last in the line. Some of the names I missed because of the passage of time. I did not mention Colonel Mukherjee and Colonel Mukherjee and Major Bhagwat, on which an award is there. And so there is a positive time. They themselves contributed a lot to Indian psychiatry. That's all. Thank you very much, IVL Garu, for giving me this opportunity to talk on little bit of in military psychiatry and its contribution to Indian Psychiatric Society. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much, sir. It's a very, very pleasant experience for us to know many interesting things of military psychiatry. We never know so many things in this. It's wonderful, actually. And we have enlightened us about the military psychiatry and its contribution to the IPS in its foundation as well as subsequently also. Thank you very much, sir. Now let us go to our last speaker, Dr. N.M. Raju garu. for his presentation. Before that, let me introduce him briefly. Dr. N. Raju garu had his MBBS from Andhra Medical College, Visakhapatnam, MD from Central Institute of Psychiatry, Ranchi. He was lecturer in CMSC, Vellore. He was superintendent Government Hospital for Mental Care, Vizag. He is honorary General Secretary IPS from 2013 to 15, President IPS in 2021, Professor and HOD, Psychiatry Department, GVP Medical College, Visakhapatnam. More than all the things, he is an excellent orator. I request you, sir, to speak.
Thank you, Dr. Ravial garu. I think it was always nice to come onto the screen and also hear some nice words about yourself. Well, and also I'm happy that I'm sharing today with three other Telugu-speaking people who adorn the presidentship. And also I had an additional, I think, feather being the only perhaps General Secretary, Telugu-speaking General Secretary of Indian Psychiatric Society. So I think no one else had ever become honorary General Secretary of the society. Anyway, sometimes it is also nice, somebody talks nice about you. It's also nice sometimes to blow your own trumpet. So that is what I have done. So thank you very much. And when I was asked to speak, and when I knew IRS, Prasad Rao and Raju garu were speaking, I really thought there would be nothing for me to speak at all, because as I said, that is why when Sarath suggested my experience, my view, my vision, I thought I'm not so well qualified among these giants to speak such big things. So I thought just I will give you a kaleidoscopic view of IPS. The word itself tells you that I can speak anything. So that is the advantage of the topic which I had chosen. And I go with one good news that I would not take much time, so that people, I'm sure, are already there on for the last 1 hour or so. But as Dr. M.S.V.K. Raju garu was talking about the military contributions, how IPS has evolved, even also Dr. Vinay Kumar has touched a few points, how it started. Today, as we all know, that the Foundation Day of Indian Psychiatric Society, in fact, I think as again Dr. M.S.V.K. Raju garu were talking about all these things. In fact, it started as a Royal Medico-Psychological Association as a part of that, Indian part of that group. Then the Indians thought that we should have our own. So in the Science Congress in Delhi in 1947, they have started their own chapter with Dunji Wai as the president. But again, after the partition, he preferred to go to Pakistan, so he resigned from the presidentship. So then we had, following which some greats were there, Dr. Banarsi Das, then Dr. Narendranath Dey, then you have L.P. Verma as the editor. I'm glad that I had seen him talking to us. I have seen him taking some lectures even at the age of 85 or so. So he used to come to Ranchi, to our institution to give occasional lectures. Just for, I think we used to have a lot of respect for him. So that is how the Indian Psychiatric Society had started. As I said, this was, though started in 1947, the real thing really happened in Patna in 1948, where the society was registered, a proper general body meeting was held. I mean, of course, the president, secretary, Dr. Davis was the secretary. Again, I had the fortune of having studied with two of his daughters, along with, they did MD from along with me. And so his son-in-law, Dr. Milind Bode, is a very good friend of mine. So, and also I had the pleasure of visiting Davis Institute almost every week to have a good lunch with chicken, mutton and all, everything in their house. So Dr. R.B. Davis unfortunately died before I went to Ranchi, but his legacy has been there throughout. be it in central entire country and be in the Central Institute of Psychiatry also. So that is how these are the stalwarts, as Dr. M.S.V.K. Raju sir was saying, that almost all of them, came literally from the military psychiatry. They have contributed immensely in forming Indian psychiatric, I would say, Indian Psychiatric Society. Then in 1961, I think they had this emblem, what now today you have. I think it was presented in 1960 AZBM, and then from 1961 onwards, what exactly, I think Dr. IVL's background, we have an emblem. So this emblem was formed, officially been the IPS emblem since 1960. So that is around, for us, say about 63 years or 64 years. Then they had formed few committees. To start with, they had 3-4 committees, like postgraduate education committee, mental nursing committee, journal committee, mentally deficient children welfare committee, most probably something like a mentor for mentally retarded children. And the audit they submitted, I think I see nicely, the opening balance was 500 rupees. And the closing balance was 823 rupees in 1948. So they started the treasury with amount of something like 800 rupees. By 1950, it rose to 943 rupees. So this is the treasury report which they had subjected. So since then, I think IPS had grown in great strength with objectives of promoting psychiatry and allied sciences, with improvement of mental health of the people, the mental health education, promoting, preventing, control, treatment, relief, and awareness of all psychiatric disorders, advise the standards of education and training, to promote research, safeguard the interests of psychiatrists, and to promote ethical standards of psychiatry. And then the biggest achievement, as I said, was the Indian Journal of Psychiatry, which started in second annual general body meeting. That was made, I think, organized in Allahabad in 1949. So initially it was called as Indian Journal of Neurology and Psychiatry, and editor was Dr. N. Day. Then L.P. Verma took over as editor, but in 1954 he handed it over to M.V. Govindaswamy of current demands. Earlier it was All India Institute of Mental Health, and then but unfortunately during his editorship, it had to be, I think, shut down. I think they could not continue to publishing Indian Journal of Psychiatry because of two reasons were for it is one, lack of good research papers and lack of financials. So these are the two attributed for the closure of Indian Journal of Psychiatry. Then again, it was revived by Dr. Bardhan. Again, interesting fact is that Bardhan was a pathologist. So he revived the editor as editor of Indian Psychiatry in 1958, but they named it as Indian Journal of Psychiatry instead of Indian Journal of Neurology and Psychiatry. So since then, I think it has taken a lot of good steps. As Dr. Prasad Rao said, I think a lot of new things have added, a lot of committees were formed. But most important development was Election Commission introduced in 2007. Till then, elections were, I would say, were more, I think, a lot of complaints were there. There are a lot of manipulation was being done. So in 2007, an independent election commission had come. And e-voting was adopted in 2016 in Bhopal. In the same AGB, where 2 EC member posts were reserved for women. And I think I can take a little bit credit here because I was the general secretary the year preceding, I think, drafting or forming the guidelines, everything for the last 2 years. So then approved in 2016. So currently we have 25 state branches. We're not too sure how many local branches are there. It must be around 10 to 12. Then there is 5 zonal branches we all know. So this is how I think Indian Psychiatric Society has evolved. And as Dr. Vinay Kumar said, all of us are here because of this great organization. A lot of people have a lot of complaints. People have what IPS has done to anyone. These things are common for any organization. But I would say that this is one platform which has given us friends all across the country. Today, I am in a position to call anybody in any corner of the country just because of IPS. Call it Kanyakumari, Kashmir, Meghalaya, Surat, or anywhere. Today, what I'm talking, because there is a platform, IPS is a great, great leveler. So what I would say is contribution of IPS to the enhancement and development of mental health in the country is immense. We know there are lacunae, the way of training being done, the different standards being produced, like there is no level playing ground. The graduate of NIMHANS is far different from a graduate coming out of a small private medical college in corner of, say, Uttar Pradesh or Andhra Pradesh or Tamil Nadu. So we need to, I think, cut down that, because once you are MD, you are equal to everybody else. But unfortunately, not only about psychiatry, all branches. Suppose as neurosurgeon in a small medical college, different from a neurosurgeon done from, let us say, NIMHANS or All Indian Institute of Medical Sciences or so. So I think when IPS should work very hard to see to it that the gap between different trainees is reduced. That by one, we should take help of local practitioners. Suppose in Guntur, IVL Narasimha is a big name. What is the problem? Somehow some adjustments are done that I think postgraduates can go there and get trained for 3 months or 4 months or 5 months. I think some system has to be evolved. I know NMC won't agree for that, but everything need not be in NMC driven. There can be, I think, locally some adjustments can be done. No one is going to question some postgraduate goes to IVLS around and works for 1 month. I'm sure nothing will happen. So I think we need to think out of box and see to it that the gap of training, quality of training is at least reduced. I know I think somebody from Mangalagiri cannot be somebody from NIMHANS easily. I know it can be. But other thing would be that I think, as I said, we have seen a lot of change in diagnostic systems, a lot of change in our own angle in which we are looking at diseases. So this all, I think, IPS is doing its service, whatever best it can do it. With a lot of course, the controversies, a lot of masala, a lot of in things and out things, inner fightings, like whatever it happens in every family. But I think, as I said, we're all proud to be members of IPS, and I'm sure a younger generation will join this branch. Again, if there is one thing which we all should work on, bring every psychiatrist of the country into the fold. Whatever be mechanism we follow. Unfortunately, most probably, they say we have around 9,000 psychiatrists in IPS fold. I'm sure there should be another 3,000 outside IPS who are psychiatrists practicing in India, but not members of IPS. So this should be somehow, we need to cut it through this gap, bring all psychiatrists under the umbrella of Indian Psychiatric Society and work to strengthen the society, the branch, and of course, the quality. So for me, there are only 2 branches which are future, radiology and psychiatry, I repeatedly say. Rest of the branches, I would most probably they have to work under some corporate hospital or somewhere without much, I think, of their own say. I think they have to, but these 2 branches have, I think, what I believe are the great future branches. We are, heading for an exciting period, and I hope IPS AP chapter will live up to those expectations, and it is doing extremely greatly under Dr. IVL Narasimha Rao. I think he is giving all run for the money, the way in which he's working like a 25-year-old man, but he's doing immense service to IPS AP chapter, and I wish all other presidents and the executive committees work and follow the way in which he's doing it. I wish every success, and I wish you all a great time ahead. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity once again. Thank you.
Your message is very good. Our recognition, what we are, is due to IPS. Thank you for your suggestions. Today we have a wonderful evening with our President IPS, Dr. Vinay Kumar ji, and South Zone President, Dr. Abhay Matkar ji, and our Telugu presidents who served IPS as presidents. We have learned a lot and come to know what we are with IPS in detail. Now I request our President-elect Dr. GVS Murthy garu to extend the vote of thanks.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, respected President Dr. IVL Narasimha Garu, and today's chief guest Dr. Vinay Kumar, President IPS, and our guest of honor Dr. Abhay Matkar, IPS President IPS South Zone Branch, and all today's speakers and members of AP State Branch. Good evening to you all. And it gives me an immense pleasure to deliver the vote of thanks for this event to all the dignitaries assembled here. I would like to thank our chief guest, Dr. Vinay Kumar, who honored this function with his inspirational thoughts and future plans and allotting his precious time to us. Thank you, sir. I would also like to thank our guest of honor, Dr. Abhay Matkar, for accepting our invitation and delivering his address. And thank you, sir. I'd like to thank our today's speakers, all the past presidents from Telugu states, Dr. IRS Reddy Garu, Dr. G. Prasad Rao Garu, and Dr. MSVK Raj Garu and Dr. N. Raj Garu for taking time out of their busy schedules and providing a nice perspectives from their knowledge and experience and giving a beautiful in-depth analysis of psychiatry and development of IPS and IPS history, and also a development of psychiatry in India. Thank you all for accepting our invitation and presenting your views. Thank you, sir. I thank our AP State Branch President, Dr. IVL Narasimha Garu, for this excellent idea of having this kind of a great meeting on this Platinum Jubilee year of IPS. And I thank our Secretary, Dr. I Sharat, for doing all the groundwork for today's function. And I would like to thank all our members who attended this IPS Foundation Day celebrations in this Platinum Jubilee year. I also thank Sun Pharma for providing logistical support. Thank you all. Long live IPS.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank
Excellent
you, sir.
function.
Thank you.
Excellent function.
రాజు గారు మేము మిలిటరీలో చేరుంటే బాగుండేది అనిపించిందండి మీరు చెప్పిన తర్వాత.
ఏంటి?
రాజు గారు ఎంబీఎస్ కే రాజు గారు చెప్పిన తర్వాత మిలిటరీలో చేరుంటే బాగుండేదేమో అనిపించింది మాకు. అంత బాగుంది సార్.
థ్యాంక్ యూ.
థ్యాంక్ యూ.
చాలా పెద్ద బుక్ రాయొచ్చు సార్ మీరు. ఒక బుక్ రాయొచ్చు మిలిటరీ సైకాట్రీ మీద. ఓ చాప్టర్ రాస్తున్నారని తెలిసింది కానీ ఒక బుక్కే రాయొచ్చేమో అనిపిస్తున్నది. చాలా బాగుంది, చాలా బాగుంది.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you, thank you.
Pleasure to be there amongst the same Telugu speaking people, particularly. When you're out of Andhra Pradesh, you realize how dear is the language to you. So I feel really grateful to IVL Garu for inviting me to speak and join you all on this wonderful evening and this great day for birth of our IPS. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
Sorry to say, I should have included this part in my main talk. MSVK Raju sir has been my teacher. So sometime later, after he writes after 25 years, I hope there will be one name called as Abhay Matkar. Vested interest. Yeah. Thank you, sir. Raju sir, you gave a lot of insight. My Brigadier Raju, NN Raju, I might come later if the time permits. Raju sir has been my teacher in AFMC. So that's been a great honor for me. So if he has time to write history about his students, I hope I get some place there.
Abhay is very humble. He done a lot of work in Srinagar when he was in the terrorist. He has like wonderful work there, and he's very humble actually. He contributed a lot to military secretary.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Some of the things which are there for IMA people to read about Kashmir diary and mind of the militant and all that. Yeah, of course, that was a good thing. Yeah. In fact, it's off the record. The only best thing which I've done in life is my work in the armed forces in 92 base hospital. That is J&K.
That reminds me, I think Abhay is the first military psychiatrist heading the South Zone. If
Yeah, if there is a history of South Zone, my name, please. But best part is, of course, India, sir, he imported so many people into Andhra. That was good of him. That was good of him. That's okay. I think the more of IPS Foundation and a lot of things. But Raju sir, today a lot of things learned. Right from Sanjeev Jain and Pratima Murthy and you who talked a lot about those things. It was a wonderful day spent. Hmm.
yeah,
You're going today, sir, or tomorrow?
tomorrow morning. Yeah.
Okay, sir. I am leaving now, sir. Thank you so much. I
All
have
the
a
best.
train now.
We'll meet again in Kochi.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. Cochin, sir. Bye-bye, sir. IVL family, thank you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Okay.
Thank
Bye, sir. Good night.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
Good
you.
night, dear friends.
Thank you, sir.
Meet
Thank
in
you,
Kochi.
everybody.
Very much.
Thank you, everybody. See you at Cochin.
Okay, Raj. Okay, Murthy garu. Good night.